We're back. Thank you so much. I'm 4x4. That is Quacks. And we've got draft on the screen below. Let's get into it. 2-1 is the series in favor of UST. And it looks like they are back on the blue side, potentially. Yes, indeed they are. But yeah, no, I mean, look, Quacks, right? This is what we harped on before we got into this one. The jungle matchups especially, right? That has been kind of a lot of the focus of these drafts, and letting through certain picks. The mid jungle has been what this series has revolved around.
For sure. But I also feel like, banning some of these picks that are staples in the meta, you have to pay respects to those too, right? I'm looking at things like the Olaf that you always want to take away, the Volley Bear that you always want to take away, the Skarner that you literally have to ban away if you are on red side. So I'm assuming that PNW are probably going to ban that one away and not give it to Porsche again, because Porsche had a really dominant showing on the three-pronged Scorpion, despite the fact that that was the game they lost. They definitely don't want to open him up to get that one again. So it is going to be interesting to see how both these teams react, banning and adapting to these drafts, but also, banning away these staple picks, these things that you need to take away, or else you come into the game with a huge disadvantage.
Senna will be taken away from Winking. So they're going to force him onto something a little bit different here, Quacks. I confess I'm a little surprised by this ban, but maybe just taking it away. I mean, I guess they just don't want to deal with it, don't want to leave a late-game scaling threat on the table. Varus will be taken away yet again. Kindred will be taken away yet again. We haven't seen the Olaf, but I imagine we'll see that in game 2. There we go. Oh, okay, there we go. All right, Varus on that side. UST going to be taking that away from Winking. Okay, so the respect's still very much being paid to Winking here in the bottom lane, and there's that Skarner ban you were talking about.
For sure. So now I think that both teams are probably going to want to get the AD carries out of the way. We've seen this before. So Aphelios, for the 4th game in a row, is still up and available, and I have a feeling that because Array has been so dominant on it, they're going to pick that one again. Now, what they pair up with it is a complete mystery. I feel like supports are kind of all over the place in terms of where you actually want to pick them, so we could see something maybe like the Braum picked up to try and back that one up, but instead, yeah, we didn't say it, but Jinx, for the first time this series, has been left open and is going to be available. Meanwhile, PNW going to pick up that Hwei, so they'll get that one away and take away the Nautilus at that. So I wonder if this is going to be UST maybe pivoting toward an Enchanter, or maybe they just pivot over towards some other lanes.
Yeah, it could be. The Thresh, I think, was banned away in game 1. There's a chance I'm making that up. I don't know if you remember that. But
no, you're right.
Yeah, so maybe we go Jinx Thresh, right? Thresh Aphelios is a combo that is tried and true. The Rel as well. So I think if Trevor does in fact lock that in, or Robbie Bob lock it in for Trevor, you know what I'm saying. But Porsche can be blinding the Cassante as well, and I think that's fair enough here on the blue side. They grab themselves that priority. This is going to be a playthrough array game here, or at least so far, right? And now let's leave something interesting open, because I think Kenvy has gotten his champion first rotation in all 3 drafts.
For sure, and so I think PNW are probably going to try and target that away. One champion that really comes to mind is PNW locked down that Rek'Sai opening up for a top lane jungle flex. I like this a lot, but I feel like Lee Sin might be really good for Kenvy in this game. I mean, you have immobile champions in the Hwei. You also have a ton of lockdown, right? You have the Flame Chompers, you have Cassante and Rel. They're able to lock down champions for God knows how long, and that allows you to connect that Sonic kick or that Sonic Q. I'm not the one that has to memorize the names. You are 4x4. As I always forget it. But yeah, I mean, being able to enter the fight with your Q as Lee Sin definitely would be easy for this UST and what they have drafted so far. So that also leaves open to things like the Xin Zhao being able to hit the Wind Becomes Lightning. I know the name of that one because it's awesome. So I'm assuming a lot of these, I'm assuming the jungle toward Kenvy is going to go to a champion that can get into the fight really easily with the lockdown that has been provided.
Yeah, I mean, that Xin Zhao looks kind of nice right now. The Vi's taken away, and they are going to take away the Diana from Doubtful. The Aatrox as well being taken away from Frank here. Aatrox does like that matchup into the Cassante, but yeah, we'll see what he reaches into his bag here. I think, look, if you're, I mean, maybe if you're Purdue Northwest, you grab yourselves a jungler here, right? The Rek'Sai could still be flexing to the top side. But, and there's that Lee Sin, attaboy. Oh, the Graves will be busted out here. Ooh. Yes, we get Ken V. Graves.
Ken V. Graves, let's go. I'm right there with you. This is one of my mains. This is a champion that I've been playing for basically ever since I saw Canyon do it in 2020. I was kind of encouraged to really pick Graves up off of that dominating performance. And so I'm really curious and excited, frankly, to see Ken V pick that one up. But I love the Lee Sin coming out here from Purdue Northwest. And overall, I think that this is a tried and true kind of pick that you would see Doubtful on, right? He likes to be a carry, but Lee Sin has so many avenues into the playstyle he can go. He can be facilitator, he can set up, he can kill, he can engage, he can disengage. There's so many possibilities. All it really is just the imagination and your mechanics, your hands. And Doubtful has shown how good he is with his mechanics in this series, I think, and I love to see the LeBlanc paired up with it. The chain will make it so easy to connect those Qs and lock down some of these more mobile champions like the Art.
100%. I'm excited to see this mid-jungle combo pop off, and not for nothing, we didn't really talk about it. It didn't click until just now. Winking will be on that Hui bottom lane, so that was something that I flagged up potentially in game 1 when that got locked in for Klexo. But Klexo going to be on the LeBlanc here, and Winking, again, this is something that he has in his bag. MEC Rookie of the Split for a reason. They're busting something out for him that, he's got the range like the Senna, but going to be doing a lot more damage in that late game. But again, it's getting to that late game that is going to be the challenge. And with Ken V on a big carry, something that can take over the game, and Array on another hyperscaler, the task is the same. Survive the early and mid game. That's on Doubtful and Klexo. Prank needs to survive as well. And you've got some true damage in the kid for the Rek'Sai as well, so that should help out just a little bit. But eyes on Winking in the late game once more.
For sure. I mean, I think Winking has been unlocked a lot more in this game, but he's going to have to worry. He is immobile and does have the opportunity to get dove. I would expect Array and Trevor to gain a lot of early priority, a lot of early pressure in this lane. I mean, it's Jinx Rel, right? You never want to walk up to this past level 2. You never want to step up and make this combo be able to poke you out. So I would assume that Ken V is going to make use of the bot lane priority that he's going to get, try and mess with Doubtful, and maybe put Robbie Bob in a position to be able to roam up to that too, because Ahri has amazing wave clear, and that's also something that LeBlanc kind of struggles with.
Yeah, especially without the static shift, right? If she goes away from that build, and I would like to see a more assassin LeBlanc, because I just think it's more fun. I'm not a hater out of principle of the static shift LeBlanc, but it's just more fun to watch the assassin go at it. And again, with an immobile AD carry, you can clear a lot of ground as Klexo, right? Double distort in, and you can, in the right circumstances, you can one-tap Array on this Jinx, which is going to be the massive carry threat in the late game. I see these compositions playing out pretty similarly in some ways, but again, I think that what can't be ignored enough is Ken V. You mentioned the ways that he could navigate that early game. And, I mean, he's such a deadly skirmisher, even at level it could be level 1, right? I mean, really, level 2. Once you get the E and the smoke screen, right, those are your two big tools, right? That smoke screen is just a tilter. It's a killer.
For sure. I mean, the smoke screen, a lot of people have said, what's the most broken basic ability in the game? I think Smokescreen is certainly up there, along with things like Nasus Wither. I would place it in that sort of S tier level of annoying. And this is a champion that I main 4x4, so you know that it's true coming from me of all people. As it's super exciting to see Ken V, a jungler that's been in the scene for so long, that's really smart about his gameplay, play a champion like Graves that rewards smart pathing, that rewards smart gameplay and smart macro. And it's a perfect combo, and I honestly think he's going to pop off with it, and it's going to be up to PNW and what they've drafted to really put a stop to that train.
We'll see how they manage it. We are about ready to get into game. Again, UST trying to send Purdue Northwest home here. They're up 2-1 in this best of 5. It is not double elim time just yet. Top 8 awaits, and the winner of the SLU, St. Louis University versus UCSD match, yes, I think if I got the bracket right, awaits the winner of this one. So could be, if UST go through, another absolute clash of the Titans, and that gets me really, really excited. And that wasn't you just gassing yourself up second-handedly, right? Was it just saying like, oh, you got to be really smart? You have to have a certain IQ to play Graves. He really rewards smart pathing, smart gameplay. As Rafji said, I'm a bit of a Graves main 4x4. I got to know what I'm doing on this champion.
I mean, to counter it out, I also play Kha'Zix, which requires you to have a couple of brain cells and maybe a little bit of hands. Also a little bit of patience until you hit level 6. So I will confess that I think I cover both sides of the coin in terms of sort of easy champions, and then champions like Graves, which are harder to navigate for sure.
Bug, jump, go burr.
Exactly. And then decapitate people with a Q. One Q, just slice their head off.
It's fun watching.
It's not broken, I promise. It is. It's the dopamine.
Yeah, the dopamine goes crazy on Kha'Zix, 100%. Standard 5 point here. Nothing too crazy departed from what we've seen from draft here. The Electrocute and the Doran's Ring start makes me think that we are going to get Fun LeBlanc, which makes me really excited. Maybe not having some fun here to start it and right back out. A little bit of chip damage down. Yep. Ranking doubtful. Waiting just a little bit. And there we go. Yep, nothing doing. But that deep vision ward grabbed over by the Raptors. No deep vision in response, or at least not off the rip here by Purdue Northwest. Just kidding. Just as I say that, Klexo doing his thing in the on the bot side Raptor bids.
So a little bit of early information for both teams as to where the junglers are starting, but I do feel like Graves, going back to the fact that this champion has a lot of possibilities for how he can path. I'm curious to see if maybe Kenby decides to do something a little bit cheeky here. You can see he's actually making his way up. Could potentially look to interrupt Doubtful, as Hook is going to land onto Array. But yeah, I feel like maybe if Kenby wants to, with the priority that's already going the way of UST, he could go for a 3 camp and then just immediately pivot toward the top side, try to interrupt Doubtful on his clear on this Lee Sin. And yeah, I think that this would be a classic Kenby move that he loves to do. He loves to go aggressive. He loves to be in the face of the enemy jungle. And this is the champ to do it.
No, you could. I mean, and it's going to be fun. I mean, you do have to respect the skirmishing power that Doubtful has as well, right? I mean, any Lee Sin player worth their salt will be able to get the appropriate resets, right? Conserve your energy. Do that, right? Get the auto resets as well and do a lot of damage that this Lee Sin can pump out here early. Going with the red pet, blue pet here for Kenby. So opting for the slow, just being able to stick to people, despite the fact that you've got a dash instead of slow. He says, you know what? That's not enough. I would like to really stick to my opponents. And you know what? Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, being able to get the slow off makes it easier to connect with the Sonic Q. And I think that that is a wise choice, personally. Not only that, but I also feel like Lee Sin struggles to go for other pets in particular. Like blue pet isn't great on him. Green pet, that's a little too much sustain. You don't need that when you have W. So red pet is naturally just kind of the best choice by more or less default.
See how Doubtful wants to play this. So far, pretty standard clears, a relatively conservative early game so far here, but we are only 3 minutes into this gosh darn thing. Winking again on this play in the bottom lane. A little low on mana here early on. Going to get the first reset back. Going to grab himself a tier, an array. Happy to respond with a cull. Playing for the late game. Both of these carries, right? Played very different styles, obviously, but they're both going to be the late game threats for their respective teams. And again, we pointed your eyes to Prank and Porsche in the top lane because these have been relatively one-sided matchups. Porsche has kind of had his way in the lane against Prank. But now on this Rek'Sai, a champion that has been a bit of the soup du jour, right? A bit of the flavor of the month. As far as these, kind of like Skarner, right? Once they got their reworks, they, the power creep was real with these two.
For sure. I think that Skarner is a champion that's very difficult to kill as well. So Prank, really all he has to do in this laning phase, at least in my opinion, is just survive and potentially set up for Doubtful.
Doubtful ward hopping over. I don't think he skirted the vision range of that stealth ward. Not going to land. Doubtful not going to get the Sonic Wave out. Porsche barely escapes it, but does have to burn his Ghost.
And he showed on vision, and he had the 24 CS, so that means Kenby knows that he hasn't taken those Krugs yet, and he's going to move on up here. Top laner is still in the area for Purdue Northwest. Prank is still around.
Throws down the end of the line into the smoke screen. Doubtful gets the Q1 on him. Goes right back in here. Kenby able to reload the shotgun. Able to dash over. Doubtful ward hopping over. Prank here to help out. Kenby has to flash over, but Doubtful connects. Follows him over the wall for first blood. Oh, we're not done just yet. Chain lands, or Hook lands, Ethereal Chains land as well. Ignite, not going to be enough. You were saying, Quacks. Oh, my goodness. Okay, no, he's fine.
Kenby at the Array managing to dodge the bolt. But yeah, Kenby, a little bit too aggressive there. He didn't have his top laner in the area. Porsche had to go for the recall. He had to burn the Ghost. And Prank was still there. The wave wasn't crashed under his tower's realm. Back there to help out his jungler. Not only that, but things go bad to worse. Kenby had to expend his flash as well, right? So this makes it very difficult for him to open up with some of these more aggressive plays, to go for things like he just did, and it kind of forces him to take a backseat, which is not something you want to do on a champion like Graves, where you want to snowball as early as possible, get some of those lethality items.
And he's got himself a serrated Dirk, so still feeling okay here. As far as combat powers, he's up in CS, right up about, I guess that's 3 camps. But look, we've seen Kenby come back from similar positions, right? With the Kindred, kind of got put on his belly initially, right? Killed by Doubtful. We've seen this movie before. Kenby, of all people, you trust to still have an impact, right the ship, and keep farming well at a pace where he's going to be able to match Doubtful. And indeed, yeah, they both got 1,000 gold components in their inventory, and first one of the grubs is Kenby. The bottom river, meanwhile, completely dark, but you do see some pings starting to go down there.
I mean, the bot lane is pushed up for UST, and Doubtful is in the area, so he could potentially look for a little bit of pressure on the bot lane, but you can see Array paying respects here, not even walking up to Vision or the wave, because Trevor is coming back from the lane. Doesn't want to potentially get jumped on here by the side of Purdue Northwest. Yeah, there is an avenue for them to maybe try and punish Array, but it is definitely a tough one with how careful he's playing.
Array's got to be careful here. Ooh. Winking, not going to land the Spiraling Despair, excuse me. Doubtful on the Scuttle Crab. Going to finish it up, gets the taking damage down. Now going to help out his laners. Array in relatively safe distance here. Doubtful, gonna have to get through the minions if he wants to land the Q1 onto Array. Not gonna find its mark. Winking lays down the accelerated path. Kenby, he's level 6. That collateral damage is a nice little spike there for Kenby. He's a level up on Doubtful, crucially, as well. Goes down the smoke screen. Trevor going to, or excuse me, Poner. Sorry, Trevor's been on the freaking Nautilus all game. I apologize.
You're good, but I mean, we saw that exchange go through, and Purdue Northwest, they were just scared to pull the trigger, right? They didn't really know where Kenby was at the time, and Kenby, he makes his presence known with a big level 6 spike, like you mentioned, 4x4, so they don't want to go for that fight, and instead it just leaves the game kind of feeling a little bit slow. I feel like this is the slowest early game that we've had throughout this series, because both teams kind of walking on a nice edge here. For Purdue Northwest, it is 1 game from elimination. For UST, it is 1 game to the top 8 salivation that they have been looking forward to for quite a while now, trying to get further and further here so they can get to that championship and get that 3-peat. So they have to play this carefully. They don't want to be making mistakes when it comes down to the line. And it seems like so far they're doing a pretty good job at that after the slight Kenby misstep.
Yeah, like you said, the road to the 3-peat starts here. Kenby has the smite, doesn't have the flash though, so he's going to be in a 1v2. He's able to get the dragon stolen away here. Collateral damage goes out as well. Smokescreen to buy himself some time, and he's able to dash back over the wall. Meanwhile, Array picks up the kill onto Poner. UST strike back.
Good play there by UST, and a beautiful secure there by Kenby as well. Doubtful. Usually when you see Lee Sins, they're the ones to win out the smite bites because they have the Q plus the smite, which does more damage than most other combos, especially at these early levels, but it is going to be the Graves managing to secure it. I believe Smokescreen Doubtful, so he couldn't smite it. And they get a kill at the end of the day. It felt like a bit of an ill-timed fight as Lexo...
Oh my goodness! Robbie Bob, stop it! No.
That is going to be a Robbie Bob charm predict. Beautifully played. They get the kill. They're going to be able to shove in this wave. Klexo, no TP, is going to miss quite a few minions here and just going to be down compared to Robbie Bob in CS, and this is kind of allowing this Ahri to unlock itself further. This is really around this phase where Ahri starts to be able to one-tap the backliners with the Q and clear out those waves instantly, which opens them up to so many more roams.
Speaking of roams, Trevor is back in his lane, and he is going to make it Winking's problem. Spiraling Despair goes down. Array, not enough damage just yet. That lost chapter is not good enough to take him all the way from 100 to 0. Pops the Ghost, just in case. Still got the flash, should think. Actually, no, he doesn't. My bad. But he's under tower. Point is, Winking threw down everything onto Array. Not successful just yet. 500 gold is the lead for UST after that highlight reel play there from Robbie Bob. He's back into the lane and still feeling all right in this lane. He's down about 10 CS, but that kill more than will make him up. That will more than make up for it, excuse me. Oh, max range hook there. How did he thread that needle there? Trevor in a little bit of trouble here. Gets the Magnet Storm down. Buys time for the Super Mega Death Rocket, and more crucially, buys time for Kenvi to potentially try something, but will not commit anything.
Yeah, Kenvi manages to spot out the ward, drops his control ward. So now, PNW, they have to clear this wave out as soon as possible. Kenvi is in the area. They do not want to be the ones fighting against this. And Kenvi, like a good jungler, is going to catch the wave, so good on him. But now it opens up Doubtful to actually going for these grubs. Yeah, beautiful cross-map play here by PNW's jungler.
I thought you were going to say, like a good jungler, Kenvi is there. Because that is what a good jungler should do, right? He should be there at the right place at the right time, especially on a champion like Graves. But that one's free, ladies and gentlemen. I'll charge you for the next singer. Porsche. Ooh, can't get on the prank. Wow, how did he cover that much distance? That is wild.
That was really smartly played. He managed to find Trevor with the Prey Seeker, ulted onto him, and flashed over the wall. So really, a lot of distance can be covered with that ultimate as Robbie Bob.
Gets hit by the charm. Q goes out as well, 100 to 0. Maybe not quite yet, but the collateral damage goes a little bit wide. Robbie Bob gets the rest of it. 2 kills for the boy.
Yep, the opportunity coming up big. So much damage coming out from the lethality Graves. There's been a lot of discussion as to what you start on Graves recently. Do you go Ghostblade? Do you go Opportunity? And here's what I have to say to everyone. Opportunity is just the better version of Ghostblade. I
would tend to agree with you. I don't know why, but I think it just feels better. And I couldn't actually tell you numbers-wise. Again, that's not my job. Self-deprecating play-by-play, ha. But hold on. Dive coming in here. Trevor, a couple tower shots here from Kenvi. He's taken pretty low. Can't quite connect on the rest of the damage that he wants to deal. Doubtful. Gets the Sonic Wave onto Array. He does have the Dragon's Rage, but can't flash. He's gonna try the Ward Hop, potentially stopped in his tracks by Trevor, but it will not be enough. There's the Ward Hop. Thought he was gonna Dragon's Rage him back, but he blew it earlier. A couple more autos will do it. Double kill for Doubtful.
Not only was Doubtful in the middle of that skirmish, but he was in Trevor's head. Trevor with the crash down too early, and Array gets picked off as a result, and then Trevor follows. Beautifully played there by Doubtful, but also a slight misstep from the side of UST, and that is going to be punished as all the while Winking and his support Poner have been just farming up on plates. This is exactly what you want to see for a champion like Hwei, to just be able to scale up, not a huge amount of action in the early game, and is quietly accruing a gold lead over Array at this point in the game.
Yeah, and that extra, he's up about 10 CS, but that 400 gold, that 400 gold difference, I should say, is coming really all from the plates because he is down a kill, obviously. Frank, gonna be burrowing over. Not quite the fancy feat we saw from Doubtful. That was, I would have loved to get a replay on that because I think you pointed it out just how Doubtful kind of broke Trevor's ankles on that one. That was nasty, but either way. Yeah, I'm glad you kind of shifted the focus down to the bottom laners, right? The AD and AP carries there, because this is kind of what we set up in draft, right? Was that the mid jungle, right? They are the engines for the early game, and especially for these two teams. There's such big win conditions for these squads specifically. Doubtful and Klexo, Kenvi and Robbie Bob. They operate in different ways, but they are such good bridges into the late game for Array and Winking, and I'm so happy that it seems like Winking's in a much better position to be able to carry this late game. Char goes wide. Trevor over the wall with the Magnet Storm. They don't stand a chance, Quacks. Winking goes down. He gets the Spelling Despair off. It's not going to be enough to take down Robbie Bob. In the blink of an eye, the shutdown comes through, but triple kill for UST. Make it 4 if they clutch Klexo. They picked the wrong one, but what a play.
Absolutely masterfully engaged there by Trevor. Huge Magnet Storm, huge stun onto the backliners of Purdue Northwest. And Kenvi, with the opportunity, with the lethality, just manages to pick them off one by one. You were saying that Winking was able to scale up, but that does not matter when you got a shotgun in your face.
No, very few things matter when you've got a shotgun in your face. It's like that Mike Tyson quote, right? Like everything's great until you get punched in the mouth. Or like
everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Exactly. Yep. There you go. Yeah, that's kind of what Kenvi's operating with here. He's 0-1-4, but man, he's having a huge impact on this game regardless.
For sure, and not just in the matter of securing kills and all of that, but also securing objectives. Oh my God, Robbie Bob, what did you eat today,
man? Talk to him nice. He's nasty with the charms.
Oh my gosh. What am I gonna eat tomorrow, Robbie Bob? Can you predict that for me, please?
You're going to eat charms. If Robbie Bob's around, that is all he's going to feed you.
Absolutely, as the next thing on the menu for UST is going to be the Rift Herald Doubtful up here on the top side. Or, sorry, for Purdue Northwest, the next thing is on the menu for them. But it feels like kind of a Band-Aid at this point, right? It feels like UST have been winning out in a lot of these exchanges, a lot of these fights, and this is kind of a desperation play, kind of a desperation objective. It'll be really interesting to see where they use this or how UST are going to defend against that as well.
Meanwhile, Robbie Bob making things happen on the bottom side. But yeah, that Herald, there's a lot riding on this. I think it was a lot riding on that take, because if that went sideways, that felt like a point that UST could have used to really break this one open. Again, 3,000 gold lead, 1 tower apiece, 3 grubs to 3, 2 dragons. Like, it's not, you know, the scoreboard and the rest of the information you're seeing on your screen doesn't really scream that it's a big UST lead, because it isn't. This is still very much surmountable. You still got Winking and Plexo ready to cook. Doubtful has been a great engine in the early game here. Prank might be in some trouble. TP coming in to help secure this. Prank is not long for this world. Maybe he flashes out of there. Wise not to invest it. Instead, Porsche will pick up his first kill of the game.
Yep, Robbie Bob TPing for a little bit of moral support there. Didn't even get the assist, but it does not matter. They are going to take this turret as a result, and I really want to highlight just, you know, Robbie Bob 4-0-3 has the Malignants complete, but look at how quickly he's able to clear out some of these waves. This provides Ari with a huge amount of time, so many timers to be able to roam down to these fights, force Klexo to pick up the waves, and it takes him longer to, you know, clear those out. Meanwhile, Robbie Bob roaming up toward fights, roaming up towards skirmishes and objectives. It's just such a good usage of putting Ari on these side lanes, making Purdue Northwest respond, because they can't clear the waves as fast. They can't react as fast.
No, and Robbie Bob, I mean, again, we talked about it sort of in Game 3, and this is a different manifestation of that strength that we saw from UST, is just being at the right place at the right time, sending the right members to the right place, no matter the game state. Doubtful in a little bit of trouble here, is able to ward hop to safety for now. Damage coming down onto Trevor. He gets hooked there by Poner. Robbie Bob over the wall. Gets the charm onto him. The minion couldn't quite body block it. Doubtful going in. Magnustorm out. Gets the shield. That's enough to save Trevor. And it will spell doom for Doubtful, or will it? Just off the mark. There's the Super Mega Death Rocket. It's a double for Array. He's excited. Gets the damage down. The zap not going to find its mark, but that's more than enough for UST. They get 2 more.
And you can see how much 1 kill can cost PNW. The resets coming out from both Robbie Bob and Array make it so easy for them to continue the fight, to snowball and accelerate those fights further and further. And PNW, they just can't keep up at this point in the game. UST, they are quite literally getting excited as the taste for the top 8 gets ever closer with each passing team fight win.
Little by little, that gold lead's growing, right, Quacks? 4,000, now 5,000, 7 kills up here. Plexo able to get the ethereal chains onto Kenvi. Where did he go? Observers. Oh, you got me. You got me, Observers. I've been bamboozled, dumbfounded, hoodwinked, etc. Real ones will get...
Classic misdirection, as LeBlanc would say.
I appreciate... We got very honest producers in my ears like, look, he got me too. That wasn't on purpose. I appreciate that production.
And it just feels like PNW, you know, they're trying to go for this top lane, but you can see UST are right here ready to react. Prank, maybe in a little bit of trouble here.
Trevor going in immediately with the crash down, but Poner able to buffer the hook. Smoke screen goes down, a little bit of shielding, no tower to run to safety to, but UST not going to risk the potential numbers disadvantage. They don't have complete information on everybody. But Kenvi is really, really strong. Probably could have taken that, but instead just going to establish that vision line with that Baron up in about a minute. Dragon up as well. Kenvi shows up into the mid lane. Array dumps a bunch of rockets into the back of Winking's head, and that is all he wrote.
Yep, UST have made their way down to the bot lane. They managed to get a consolation prize for a lowly artist while they were going down there. And now the Dragon is all for the taking. And PNW just continue to get locked out of this game. They won't be able to contest the Dragon. They won't be able to contest the push that is going on in both of these side lanes. And they won't be able to stop Kenvi from just taking every damn camp in the jungle.
Turret will not stop UST. The Magnet Storms are money from Trevor. He sets him up, and the rest of UST knocks him down. The kills are spread all over the place as PNW ripped off the map. It's just Prank thinking that that's what happened over in the mid lane. Where did all my teammates go? UST, like a hot knife through butter, are ripping through PNW. Winking will be next on the chopping block.
20 minutes into the game, 15-3 in kills, and now only after 2 team fight wins back-to-back do they go to the Dragon. Crank trying to pick something up, but Trevor is going to ride his little horsey away from the danger. And it just feels like PNW are getting more and more desperate. Every single opportunity is met with a vengeance from UST.
When you saw that with the TP, with the on my way pings, Trevor doesn't have the Magnustorm up, but he's able to get the crash down. Robbie Bob appears out of nowhere, doesn't hit that flash, but it literally does not matter. Poner able to get the kill onto Kenby though. Poner low, Poner down, and just like that, UST, if they don't get the perfect fight, Purdue Northwest, UST just have that wallet diff on their side. It's just so difficult against these guys.
For sure, the team fight wombo combo, the engages from Trevor, the disengages from Porsche as well make it so difficult for PNW to even walk up to the UST squad. And as a result, all of them have fallen. Only a blip of vision is going to come by for Winking. He's going to spot them on the Baron, but there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, they're just going for the picks here potentially. Maybe not liking how low those health bars were taken. Without Kenvi as well, you don't have the security of a smite. Right? Doubtful could get in and out, right? Lee Sin, the king of the Baron steals, because you have just 10,000 different buttons you can press to get from one side of the Baron pit to the other. But either way, yeah, USC not going to gamble with that one. And to be fair, Quacks, they really don't need to at this stage.
No, they really don't. They don't need to take unnecessary risks. They don't need to go for fights needlessly. At this point, they control the map. They control the pace of the game. And it's basically theirs to lose at this point. PNW, it doesn't feel like, on any given day, it feels like at this point, UST will win out 10 out of 10 team fights. And it's just for them to screw up. And based on how they've been playing, based on how hungry they are to get to that top 8 and get that three-peat, I don't see this squad making any of those kinds of mistakes.
No, there's a high floor squad. They don't make a lot of mistakes, and they make it very hard for you to punish them should they make mistakes. Robbie Bob maybe a little bit overzealous here. Here comes another mass TP here. The whole squad, whole lot of ganging for Purdue Northwest as they come in, guns blazing, but the guns fire blanks onto empty targets. They do get Robbie Bob, but
Kenvi.
At what cost? Kenvi will go down as well. Doubtful able to pick up a kill there, but Array and Trevor making their money on a kill onto Poner. Double for the Jinx. She's excited. Doubtful and Winking go, oh boy, we're on the wrong side of the map. Super Mega Death Rocket will not land. And I think that, let's see how long they actually chase him here, right? Baron's the next thing on the menu, but Purdue Northwest got a little something back here, but they didn't really get much out of it, right? There wasn't any Baron vision that they got as a result of it. There wasn't anything meaningful that they could really get out of it outside of a couple camps from Doubtful, right? That's kind of it.
But on the other side, you can see UST Porsche manages to actually break open the base of PNW. He was not present in that entire fight, so he was just chilling in the mid lane. So that is a pretty big advantage for them nonetheless. But Doubtful has kind of a flank here, and I wonder what he's going to be able to do with it.
Klexo's got to be careful, man. Half his health bar disappeared. Big old TP coming in from Robbie Bob. Recall coming in from Doubtful. He will not get it off before he can even blink. I think he maybe got to press one input there with how much damage was dealt by Robbie Bob in the span of the charm. You talked about how the Ahri can really get to be a bona fide assassin in the late game, and with a sufficient lead, of course. And that's what you're seeing on full display right now.
For sure, 3 items strong, 6-1 and 13. PNW, they have no response to this Baron taken. I mean, at this point, UST, you know, you could be saying, oh, a minute and a half until the Baron Soul, or the Dragon Soul, sorry, as the Gen G Baron buff is going to be acquired here by UST. But yeah, they don't even need the Soul, I feel, to win this game. They have the Baron buff. They're going to be splitting Porsche into the top lane, or maybe even going to be splitting Robbie Bob into the top lane with how much wave clear this Ahri has gotten, you know, with those items now. And PNW, they don't really have an answer. They can't really clear the waves. They don't have a great wave clear, and it just feels like a slow burn for them at this point.
Yeah, it might be death by 1,000 cuts here for Purdue Northwest as UST taking a very methodical approach to closing out this late game. The depth charge does land, but very nice buffering of the Unstoppable there by Porsche. Doesn't get knocked up by it, but to be fair, there's no shot, right? There's no way, Quacks! Okay, thank goodness. Shutdown does go over to Doubtful, which also kind of stings because Leeson has gotten a whole lot of kills, and unfortunately, where you need them is Winking, is Klexo right now, right? Doubtful did his job in the early game, but Klexo, he's playing this cat and mouse game right now, and Array just dumps the rockets into the back of his head. He is gone. Trevor walks right through the spiraling despair here. The double kill comes through for Array. There was no chance. It's a triple for the 80 carry of UST. The pings come into the base. Purdue Northwest, they needed to take some big swings as the game spiraled out of control, and they took them, and I respect the hell out of that. But in the end, it's not enough. GG's over to Purdue Northwestern. This should be the game here with the Baroned up minions. I think they're able to close it out with the respawn timers.
Yup, UST, like the wolves, like their logo suggests, they have come for their prey. They have come for the Nexus in 3-1 fashion. They're going to make their way to the top 8 and get one step closer to that fabled 3P.
To top 8 they go. They take down Purdue Northwest 3-1. A very well played series from them. The highs were high, but the lows were a little rough. And Purdue Northwest, to their credit, right, to give them their little eulogy here as they bow out very respectable fashion against the back-to-back champions, playing with a bit of a new look roster. Yes, no Shogo, trying to win their first title without him, but Porsche and Robbie Bob, with the addition of Kenvi now playing, adding that little wrinkle of being a bona fide carry in the jungle, has given them a new dimension. And you really like what you saw here against a Purdue Northwest team that was stubborn, Quacks.
For sure. I mean, it felt like Purdue North. I will give it to Purdue Northwestern. They did not quit even in game number 5. Even when all the chips were down for several minutes, they kept looking for picks. They kept looking to go on to some of these stragglers. They tried to get Porsche. They got Porsche at the end. It resulted in them getting turned on eventually, and the team fight lost, and then the game was over. But they never stopped looking for stuff. They never stopped looking for picks. So huge credit to Purdue Northwest. But at the end of the day, These are one of the favorites of the entire tournament, and they showed why in the series.
Yeah, no, they're the big dogs, and they are coming home to roost. They will play the winner of, again, SLU versus UCSD. SLU favored in that one. We'll get an update on that for you whenever we can. But for now, we're going to take it to a break. When we come back, we'll have a winner's interview for you, hopefully. And someone from UST will be joining us on the broadcast. So, yes, we do, in fact, have that. Got production confirmation in my ear. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with that. And then we'll close it out, give our final thoughts on the series, and send y'all on to whatever you want to do with the rest of your Sunday. We hope it's watch more CLOL, because we got a bunch of different streams going. We'll get you all that and more. Don't go anywhere. Game 2, how you feeling after that one?
Yeah, I might be Mordekaiser ulted right now, but I'm feeling pretty good after that win. I mean, it was a little bit. Well, we weren't really nervous after game two, but I mean, it's definitely a stumble, I guess. You know, probably shouldn't drop that, but we did. But I think we made a good recovery.
Mhm.
Game three
And
and four.
yeah, I definitely agree. It was pretty dominant from kind of game three on. But you left the Diana on the table, right? So you clearly didn't feel that that was enough of a problem where you had to ban it. What were the adjustments, kind of from game 2 to game 3, to deal with the Diana?
Yeah, I, I think game two we just kind of disrespected them a little bit. I'd say probably. I mean, I think it's like I mean, I think we were doing well in the lanes. I think jungle was going all right. It's just we just kind of messed up a bit, and that's all right. Like we got Diana just got too fed out of nowhere. She's kind of like
Yeah.
a feast or famine champ, I'd say, where like if she gets killed, she'll just take over the game. And I think game three we just like we just made her go, yo, just let's not feed like that champ is not that good of a champ. Like if we just don't feed her kills, she won't carry the game. I mean, he was good on the Diana. I gotta give him respect to it, but I think we just fed him too much in game two, but in game three we just didn't, so it worked out.
Yeah, fair enough. No, y'all look great on it. Yeah, kind of third time around, or second time around, I should say. For you, this is your third time around on this roster, going for the three-peat, something that's never been done before. But the new piece on this roster, kind of, we're one of the two big pieces, right? Kenvi. What does he bring to the team as far as whether it's in-game, kind of, he loves to play his carry champions, the Kindreds, the Olaf, the Graves, right? Would you like what's the biggest impact he's having on this team in terms of you could take it on the Rift or off the Rift and how he's helped y'all evolve?
Well, it's definitely a big change. I mean, I think like when new players come in, you always have to integrate them into, you know, Kenby doesn't really need that. He doesn't really need to be integrated. He kind of like defines like, like I mean, he was LCS for a reason, right? Like we played LCS. He's pretty good, right? Like he is a good player. So I think like integrating a team, like I think right now it's just we're just trying to find our team identity around Kenby because I think when it comes to like carry junglers, like what Kenby's like really good at, right?
Yeah.
We're just like trying to figure out how we can integrate that, and if we can't, then we can't. But I think right now we're trying to find a good flow, and I think it kind of showed in games three and four that Ed gave one, like we can play both styles. I think pretty well. Where he's like, I don't think, at least thankfully, tank junglers aren't really in the meta, so we do not need to see Kenvi on that. So it seems to be working out in our favor. I mean Kenvi's been a great Solana, and like we had Dardoch last year, and he was
Mhm.
great, and now we have Kenvi, and he's also great. I think it's been going well, and I think we're just gonna get better as time goes on.
Going from strength to strength, yeah, with the junglers. I mean, you get LCS experience in that spot. Yeah, it definitely can't hurt. Going forward, like I said, looking for the three-peat. You've maybe got St. Louis waiting on the other side of this matchup, assuming they make it past UCSD. As far as learnings kind of from this series, because like you said, I agree with what you said, like that game 3, game 1, game 4, like you guys, it felt like the burden of execution was like between you and Kenvi. Like it was different levels. Sometimes it was 50-50, sometimes it was 70-30, right? You were on the Galio, then the Oriana. He was on hard carry, and then Xinjiao. What have you taken away from that you're going to like, that you'd say, okay, we learned X, Y, and Z. Now we feel good about this going into a series against SLU as you chase that third title?
I mean, Slow's gonna be a difficult opponent for sure. I think they are like out of the teams that I would rate, like they are definitely the probably the second hardest team, right behind Maryville in terms of strength. And I think like when going into that series, I think we're feeling pretty confident, honestly. And I think between me and Kennedy, I think we work well when I think yeah, I think we work well when I'm like I don't know, like when it's just like some games we're just destroying everybody, like we're moving on the map, making plays together, and then some games not so much. But I think we're more so finding our flow together, and I think like this series, like game two, definitely kind of showed like when we're not coordinated and what
Mhm.
happens, right? If we're not
Sure.
coordinated, then things aren't gonna happen. But I think every other game felt pretty good. So if we take those games and we just continue doing those type of games, then I think SLU will be a good series, and I think we're feeling pretty confident in that.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us. GG's. Best of luck to y'all. Thank you for your time. Again, the final 3-1 UST over Purdue Northwest. Robbie, yeah, best of luck next week, no matter who y'all play, and we'll see you around, man.
Thank you so much.
All right, going to bring Quacks back on here to close out the series. Quacks, yeah, I mean, I think my big takeaway from that interview where it was kind of confirming what we saw, which is like that the full identity of this team hasn't quite been found yet. But, you could take that as a negative or you could take it as a positive and say, look, they've still got kind of another level to hit, right? And that they can play a couple different styles and that Kenvi, even though he is the best at the carry style junglers, he doesn't have to take that much of the ball all the time. And I think that's something to be, if nothing else, really interesting to watch as this team continues its CLOL journey.
And I think, these teams with sort of more liquid play styles, they can kind of adapt to the flow of the game, adapt to the flow of the series, make for interesting team to watch overall, right? I mean, we heard it from Robbie. He said that they think that SLU is probably the second hardest team behind Maryville. And I think it's both a good and a bad thing that you, against a team like SLU, where you don't necessarily have, that concrete, solid, set in stone play style, because it makes it harder for, people to scout you, people to draft against you, because they don't know necessarily what you're doing, because you partially don't necessarily know what you're doing yourself. So I think that'll make for a very interesting series, and I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah. No, I as well. I'm really looking forward to that series. Again, that series hasn't been played yet, so we're getting maybe a little ahead of our skis here. But SLU, they have to go against USD, or UCSD, I should say. We'll get that bracket up on the screen for you. Man, our production is so good. Guys, give it up for production. The rest of the bracket, shaken out as such. UST, one of 3 teams that have officially qualified for top 8. And again, this is the double elim portion of the bracket, so this is when things get really, really interesting. Ole Miss, Oklahoma Christian, SLU, UCSD, and Winthrop, Grand Valley. Yeah, sir, Grandview, rather.
And all exciting matchups, and you can find them on the accompanying streams as we look at I believe we can look at the schedule one final time, or whenever that gets popped up. Yep, you can see that we have UST versus Purdue Northwest today, but at the same time, we will also have Ole Miss versus Oklahoma Christian, I believe that is, and then followed up by Winthrop versus Grandview, like you said. So a bunch of exciting matchups, bunch of exciting stuff that will be occurring today. So a lot more League of Legends for you to watch, a lot more players for you to be in awe over, and it's all going to be very, very exciting.
It'll be a blast, and we hope you're right there with us along the way, no matter where, why, or when you are watching. We really, really appreciate it. We also want to give a shout out to our name level sponsors, Gen G and Ole Miss. Big thank you to them, as well as anyone who's donated over $100. We're going to shout them out right now. So we don't appreciate anyone who hasn't. You're just not going to get a shout out right now. I don't make the rules. Anyways, those people are Raz, Garrett Meyerson, Axeman, James Vanderbeek, Greg Adler, Polestar, Sandor Howe, Sean Shannon, Daniel Clerk, Powell Weissman, Manny Sanchez, Colomer, Gordo, Yanni, Slayer, Shibby, Angie Fan, Gavin Hung, Beatdown, Timothy Bui, Enrique Demore, Ian Ford, Kyle Upgamer, RMC, Aaron Lee, Alan Ignacio, Peter Erickson, Andrew Franklin, Tiffany Tron, Beverly Rospico, and Josh Sides. If you have donated any amount of money, any amount of time, any amount of attention to us, to these players, to this stream, we really, really appreciate it. We want to give these stories and these players the time and attention and professionalism that they deserve. If you want to help us out monetarily, that link on your screen below, the GoFundMe is still alive and cooking. For everyone I've mentioned, for our production, big shout out to them as well. Big thank you to Grapes and Hawk, obviously, for putting this whole thing on, taking the initiative to bring us on. Big thank you to Ilyashat. Big thank you to Cynthia for running the production here. Big thank you to Quacks for being my wonderful my wonderful color caster today. Big thanks. Big thanks to you. Big thanks to y'all in the chat. For everyone I have mentioned, I have been 4x4. Your final score, UST takes the series 3-1 over Purdue Northwest. We will see you back here real soon. Have a great rest of your Sunday.